Yes, people. What's going on? It's Egal Talks Football. We're back again with another video on Egal Talks Football. Today, we're going to be talking about the Everton game. We're going to be doing a preview for the Everton game, and I got my guy Gunnar Souls in the building already. Big up Gunnar Souls. How you doing, bro?
All good, brother. All good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. And Dawood might be joining us in a couple minutes time. Dawood might be jumping in also to join us for the stream. But yo, I don't know if you've seen. I put out a tweet the other day, and it's really gotten a lot of people upset at me for saying what I said about a certain Thomas Partey. But we're gonna get into everything right now. Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know where you're watching from across the world. I know I have a lot of subscribers across the world, and a lot of them also in Africa and outside of the UK. So parts of like I've seen some people in Jamaica, some people in I seen someone in Malaysia, someone in Singapore. I've seen some people in India, of course, America, Canada, the UK, and all those other places also. So let me know where you're from and leave a comment down below. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Going into this Everton game, it is a big game, but there's some news and there's some talking points that we need to discuss before we go any further. So yeah, we got 25 people already in the building. Let me know if you guys can hear us loud and clear in the comment section, as I can't see any comments jumping through already. Iga, I'm not confident about this game. And definitely with Saka's injured. Saka's not injured. The report was actually that there's a niggle or some sort of like small little issue, but it didn't say that he's actually injured. That's the thing. So I think people are a little bit worried for no reason. He's not injured. He's going to be perfectly fine. It was an Achilles problem. Like I don't even know why they reported it. And it came from the England camp. It didn't come from Arsenal, so I'm not too worried. What are you saying? You seen the little
Um,
report?
yeah, I've seen the report, and personally, I do think we need to look at resting him. We need to look at potentially reserving some of his games, because what we've got to think about is we play Sunday 4:30, then we play on Wednesday, and if we're being absolutely honest, as much as yes, we can rotate slightly if with PSV playing and everything, but the reality is we're going to need Bukayo Saka for pretty much now, I'd say 70 games, given how far we go into competition. So for me, we need to look at resting him against Everton. We need to be looking at resting him against the Burnleys, the games that we're looking at pretty much winning. And if this is to be true, that an Achilles problem is there, we don't really want to be overutilizing him and using him for another 100 minutes, another 100 minutes on Wednesday, another 100 minutes on the weekend again, because we have got big games coming up. And we need to look at prioritizing certain players for certain games. Look at Man City and Pep Guardiola when he's got major games coming up. He'll rest certain players just to make sure that they're fully fit for certain games as well. So we need to start managing the minutes better amongst the squad, so that when someone like a Reece Nelson is called upon and say, let's just say hypothetically one of our players gets injured and Trossard is relied on, or we need to start calling upon Trossard, that they're actually fit. They don't need like a game or two to get into the rhythm of things. And that's what happened with Tomiyasu. We used to throw him in against Man City, Liverpool, etc. And then everyone's like, oh, look at how bad he is. We need to sell him. We need to get rid, because the reality is they're coming in cold into a situation which is quite intensified. And the reality is, look, we can win games without Bukayo Saka. As good as he is, we also need to manage it. That doesn't mean he's going to be on the bench for 15, 20 games a season. It just means the odd game here and there, we don't need to play him. And that's just how I personally feel, even if this didn't come out.
Yeah, Jim, I'm Mubarak to you, bro. Hope everybody's well. The thing is, I'm just going to say this. Bukayo Saka. Everyone says we need a backup for Bukayo Saka. Do Manchester United have a backup for Bruno Fernandes? Do Manchester City have a backup for
We have a backup.
Like, when it comes to, yes, we do. And the thing is, the quality of that backup is always questioned in Reece Nelson.
It's not Reece Nelson.
Who, Trossard?
No.
Who? Fabio Vieira?
You know what? This name is going to come 10th on your list.
Fabio Vieira.
No, Gabriel Jesus.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Gabriel Jesus.
Personally, that's what I want. I want Jesus to play. No, but then you play Nketiah or you play Trossard down the middle. Because I'll be honest with you, when you look at the way that Jesus plays, he plays as a winger anyway. That's why like Granit Xhaka was given the freedom to go forward. That's why when like I've always been saying, that Havertz will look better once Jesus and Zinchenko are on the pitch. Because why? we don't actually operate with like a central striker. Martinelli did that role. So if we put him onto the right wing, that actually utilizes his best attributes on the pitch. And actually, he can become more creative. We're not dependent on his goals. And he can actually be that creative forward that can bring goals. So I want to see it. I don't think it'll happen, but I'm hoping that rotation can happen.
I think managing his minutes is not a problem. I think the issue that people have is they just don't want to see him starting every single game. Like, it's not an issue if he comes in all the time and plays majority of the games.
But you know what? Even if that's the case, bring him off 50 minutes, bring him off 60 minutes.
Yeah. So manage his minutes, but I do think we kind of over. I feel like we speak about this too much. Like, I get it, Bukayo Saka, he plays a lot. He's young. He wants to play as much as he can play. And when do we ever see people talk about players from other teams that are like superstars? Like, you don't see people say Vinny needs to be rested. You never see people say Mbappe needs to be rested.
Because Vinny is rested.
You never see what?
Vinny does get rested. He doesn't play every single game. Because they don't actually put a strength out team until they're in the finals for the Copa del Rey. A lot of their cup competitions, their main players don't play.
We don't play Saka in all the cup competitions
because we haven't been we've not gone past the first stages in most of them.
Yeah, so
but even in the group stages of the Europa League,
get upset why we didn't take the competition serious. So my whole thing about this whole Saka thing is, I think Saka, fit and available, is going to play every single Champions League game. He's going to play every single Premier League game. Where he could be rested and rotated is in the cup competitions. Now, in the league and in the Champions League, in a situation where we don't necessarily need to win that game, or we've already gotten through top of the group, then he can be fully on the bench and not playing in that Champions League game. And in the league, as long as we're up by like 60 minutes, he can be subbed off. He doesn't have to finish every single game 90 minutes. The reason why he finishes every single game 90 minutes is because we always have like a 10-15 minute period where it's kind of shaky. We don't have comfortable wins as often as we did as often. And that's why people look at Manchester City and they're like, oh, they can take Haaland off in the 60th minute. They can take these guys off in the 40th minute. I mean, 40 minutes with 20 minutes left. That's what we need to be able to do.
No, but you know what it is though? Like, when you're hearing that, we know like there's something up with Saka because he hasn't looked his best. You know, in a full 90 minutes. Yes, he's had moments in those games that have kind of made people forget how poorly he has played over a full 90 minutes or 100 minutes or whatever the case may be. So I do think we need to protect him a little bit as well, because we are overusing him. Even if you look at some of the players you mentioned, they're probably not playing close to 60 games though. And as a winger and as an attacker, there's a lot more running to be done. It's like fullbacks as well. The reason why a lot of those positions get a lot more injuries is the amount of activity and pitch that they have to cover per 90. Whereas when you look at the likes of a DM, for example, they're probably not covering as much or pressing as intensely because the position doesn't require it. And that's why they don't get injured as much. Like Rodgers, for example, like Jordan Henderson wasn't getting injured when he was at the pump. You know, Declan Rice, for example, hasn't had major injuries because of those reasons. So for me, we do need to look at managing. I'm not saying he bench him on Sunday, but I do think we need to start, number one, becoming ruthless so we can rest these players. Because Gabriel Jesus, I mean, we need to wait and see what happens with him. I know he wasn't actually injured. It was more of a cleanup of his injury and, you know, he's back again. But we need, once, like, for example, last season where injuries were one of the reasons why we kind of fell away and lost the league after 93% being on top of it. We need to look at, you know, utilizing those players a bit better, using the squad a bit better. Because, for example, Fabio VIERA is a perfect example. Because he's been playing these cameos, when he starts, it's going to be perfect because he's going to be ready. He's going to know what it feels like. With Trossard, it was kind of, he didn't play, and then we started him. And it was like, well, we just kind of threw him into the deep end rather than giving him those 20 minutes, giving him those 30 minutes, and then bringing him on to start. I don't think he would have had that Fulham performance. So that's kind of where more of my point comes from, more than resting Saka.
What about the whole Goodison Park thing going into this game? Because we're going to be playing Everton. We're going to be playing a team that's extremely physical, a team that is a strong team, and that, let's be honest, they're going to have an industrial midfield in there. They're not going to have too many guys that are techie. They're going to have more physical pace and power guys. And with ODEGARD, Declan Rice, I'm comfortable with that. But who's going to go next to them? We're going to have to talk about these things as the video goes on. We're going to talk about Bukayo Saka as the video goes on. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that like button, guys. We got about 35 of you guys watching right now. Make sure you do hit that like button. And anybody watching on the playback, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section right now. So I'm going to just go to this tweet that I posted because, bro, I'm telling you, I got people going mental, like absolutely mental over what I tweeted. So if you don't know, I have a Twitter account, Egal Talks Football, EGTV Egal, and I tweeted the other day, overrated. Every top 6 team, name an overrated player in every top 6 team, right? So for Arsenal, who am I going to put? That's what I was thinking to myself. For Arsenal, who am I going to put? People saying Ramsdale. I'm like, I don't want to put Ramsdale. People saying all these guys. So what I did was, instead of putting somebody who I think is not that good, I took somebody who I think is really good, but I don't have him as rated as high as everybody else. And that person is none other than Thomas Partey. So me putting Thomas Partey as my player that I have as the most overrated Arsenal player had people really triggered, to the point where certain people are being like, yo, you're not an Arsenal fan, you're a Spurs fan. You know what people do, right? So This was my take. My take is, I rate Thomas Partey. I think he's a really good player. I think his importance at Arsenal Football Club, because we've now signed Declan Rice, is not going to be as high, and he's not going to be as valued as he was previously. But yet, people still view him and his importance to the team the same way they did last year, even when we didn't have Declan Rice. And you can see it by the reactions of certain people, how they speak about Thomas Partey. But their same reaction when he got injured last season would be, oh, our season's done. Where now our reaction is, oh, our season's not done. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad player because we have Declan Rice. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we overrate his value and his value to the team in 2023. And is that a valid reason to put him on overrated? Let me know what you think.
I mean, it kind of depends though, because a lot of people rate him as one of the best DMs in world football, let alone the league for a moment. You know, people are comparing him to the likes of Rodri, who has turned up in big moments, whereas contrary to that, Thomas Partey hasn't been there in the big moments. Yes, he was one of the keys to us being in a title challenge, but he was also one of the reasons why we slipped away from it. And when you look at some of the games he's missed the most important fixtures in the Arsenal calendar. So as much as, yes, he's been important, and yes, he's been one of the catalysts for us being a title challenging team, he's also kind of brought it on himself. And the reality is, at the end of the season, who was the one that we were starting to question? Thomas Partey. And yes, there was other players who did not turn up and did not perform. You know, Bukayo Saka also had a drop-off. I will mention those names as well, but the reality is Thomas Partey was the one that we had to start changing his position to try and get the best out of him, because he just was not performing. He tried flicking the ball over Declan Rice and conceded. Yeah, we nearly conceded a goal from there. Or we did concede a goal. I can't remember what it was. And, you know, it was moments like, for example, being injured against Man City both times, Chelsea, you know, Man United did miss. So for me, I've always said it, like, if a good offer came in, I would sell him. And people call me, you know, nah, that's delusional, this, that, and the other. But I stand firm on that. I said it in the summer. If that Saudi bid was true, I would sell him in a heartbeat, because it's not about us taking a step backwards. It's the importance of Thomas Partey, for me, is one of the reasons why, as a club, we've been held back. And now that we've brought Declan Rice in, because you got to be honest, though, like, his injuries have held us back.
No, but that's two different conversations. Now, I'm not trying to have a conversation about Partey, Rice, who's better, because that
No, it's not that. But for me, like, the reason why I say that is, when you're relying on a player that important, imagine Man City relying on Rodri, and Rodri kept getting injured. Like, it does become a conversation of that's going to hold you back now, because you're not replacing him. You're not looking to improve that position. Yes, we've gone and got Declan Rice, which is what we needed to do. But it's not a conversation. Like I've always said, Thomas Partey on his day is probably one of the best, DMs in world football. You can have that conversation on the best days of both of them.
To a title race, my guys here.
So. But he also slipped it up for us. So it's kind of like a weird one for me. Like I said, on his day, one of the best DMs in world football.
Okay, I just want to know, what do people consider as overrated? Do you consider overrated as somebody who the media and fans rate highly, who you do not rate at that level? Or do you think overrated is somebody like, for example, for me, let me give you an example. Eden Hazard, amazing player. But when he was put in conversations with Messi and Ronaldo, that's when he became overrated. He was a great player. He still was a great player at that time. But when he started getting put in conversations with those guys is when he became overrated. Now, Thomas Partey, he ability-wise, he's on the level with some of these guys. Availability, injuries is an issue. That is one of the factors in people saying, "Oh, he's slightly overrated." Another thing is his importance in the team is no longer at that level because we signed Declan Rice. We can say, you know what? Maybe if we didn't sign Declan Rice, I wouldn't be saying this, of course, because his importance wouldn't be that high. Maybe some people are saying Thomas Partey is underrated. That is also another thing. We got people here saying he's underrated. That could be the case. I guess it's based on what you view it. Everyone looks at it from their eyes. Based on some people's eyes, Ramsdale's overrated. In some people's eyes, Ramsdale's underrated. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Zinchenko, the most underrated player in the Prem, he's saying. Guess what? Some people are going to tell you he's overrated because we put him as one of the best left backs. That's just how people are. They go with their ratings based on how they feel about that player. Now, let's go talk about the next thing. Did you see what happened with Martin Odegaard?
About the new contract or something else?
The new contract, I think it's done. I think the contract is officially being announced. It's not been officially announced yet, but I think someone tweeted about it today.
Yeah, it's basically done.
It's basically done. Who tweeted it?
I can't remember. There's multiple people. I can't remember the names. There's people who quote tweeted him.
I seen somebody tweeting it today saying, exclusive, Arsenal have reached an agreement with Martin Odegaard over a new contract, a 4-year deal until 2027, 1 year additional extended further, making the Norwegian captain the top earner at the club. Next will be Ben White. These are the things that people are saying. So I think it's great that we've tied down Martin Odegaard. I love the fact that Martin Odegaard is the next player that we've tied down. We've now tied down how many different players under a new contract at Arsenal? Just this past summer alone.
About 7, 8 now.
We've given
Saliba, Saka, Martinelli. We had obviously now Odegaard would be potentially one of them. We've got, I think, well, Nketiah was done last summer, so there's a lot of the younger players who are coming through that we're now signing to new contracts, which kind of just show you the vision that they have, and we're no longer a club that's going to let these talents go for free. You know, that's the thing of like progressing, and that's the thing of like going towards these title challenges is important. And I think the next step is we have to start winning, because they're only going to hold on for so long, and there's only going to be a certain point that we can keep these people. Even Bukayo Saka, look, as much as he loves Arsenal, there's always going to be something that's going to make him leave if we can't win. And I think that's with Odegaard. Like if you watch, for example, Mikel and Odegaard did this video on YouTube where they had like an interview where they questioned each other, they answered a few questions, and you can see the unity, you can see the reasons why Odegaard wanted to play under Arteta, and the reasons why even Declan Rice wants to play under him. But that kind of aura can only last for so long if you don't start winning things. And I feel like with a lot of these players, they're feeling that way. They're feeling there's a title challenge on. The Champions League is back. You know, the Emirates is being improved. Yes, it's not the digital displays we were promised, but it's being improved with the, you know, with the memorabilia that we've got going on. You know, Wenger being back at the club, you know, with ex-legends being back at the club. There's no more toxicity. There's no more who's the ownership is going to be. There's no more, you know, Kroenke out. There's no more Arteta out. Everyone's in unison. So a lot of these players are seeing that and going, let's take it to the next step. Committing their futures is going to be that kind of, we're settled, because Odegaard kept mentioning it. I never felt settled at Real Madrid because they kept loaning me out. This is going to give him that extra boost to say, you know what, I've got an extra year, 2 years, 3 years at this club, and England is my home now. And for me, long may it continue. And great work for Edu and Arteta to be able to actually get this done.
Great news. Yeah, Dawood, welcome to the show. Hopefully you're doing well, bro. If you didn't hear the news, Martin Odegaard has officially new deal is on the way. Fabrizio Romano has been reporting it numerous times. Some rumors are saying that the deal is almost completely done and it's going to be announced soon, until 2027 with an additional year, and making him potentially the top earner at the club. How you feel? You're on mute, bro.
I don't know if you can hear us.
Yo, Dawood, can you hear me? Hello. Hello, Dawood. Yo. Can you see
I
me?
don't know what's that. No, I don't think you
Yeah,
can
he
hear.
can hear me. Let's go to some of the comments. Big up Winston in the building. What is this? I'm hearing Arsenal signing Vlahovic. What?
I think this is just brought up news again. I don't think it's actually going to happen now.
Where'd you hear that? Where'd you hear that?
You know what it is? It's those like people who just regurgitate news. I've seen it on Twitter, but it's one of those ones where like it's not. There's no truth to it. It's like Douglas Luiz when he was linked to Spurs, so they linked him to Arsenal as well. It's one of them.
Yeah, probably. What's going on with Dawood? Dawood, you there, bro?
Oh, he's gone. I think he jumped out to jump back in. I think.
Yeah, Dawood's thing is not working. Saka is overworked, and we need to start Trossard. I don't think Trossard's going to have
to
as
start
big as a
Smith
role.
Rowe at the right hand side. Smith Rowe would be sick.
Uncomfortable conversations. I don't think Trossard's going to have as big as a role as people think.
No, he's going to be playing Champions League.
You think so? I just think it's going to be a situation where we don't see Trossard that often, consistently playing week in, week out. And he's going to
do you know what I think we need to do? We need to start getting into the idea that there's going to be a cup team. Not necessarily a full 11 cup team, but there's going to be cup players and there's going to be league and maybe Champions League players. And unfortunately, Trossard is going to fall into the cup category in terms of he's going to start his games in the Champions League. He's going to start his games in the Carabao Cup, in the League Cup, and he's going to probably be more of an impact sub when it comes to the Premier League. And I don't think that's a bad thing to do.
Dawood, you back?
Oh, now he's on that weird circle thing now.
Yeah, now his audio is still. I don't know what's going on with him. Once he gets added, we'll add him. This thing is not working today. If you can see him, add him, because I can't see him still. Anyways, I'm just going to say this. Martin Odegaard, it's great to see Martin Odegaard wants to stay at the club and he's happy to stay at Arsenal, and we're keeping our best players. Getting them tied down to new contracts is a key and important part to the next process, and I'm very happy with that. But yeah, we'll see what goes next. We'll see what happens next. With that, we already spoke about what's it called? We already spoke about certain player, but we need to now speak about the goalkeepers. Is it time for a goalkeeper change, or is this what the hell? Is it time for a goalkeeper change, or are we over exaggerating with this whole goalkeeper thing? Because people want to see Raya. I'm not too worried about Raya or Ramsdale at this moment in time. I still think Ramsdale is the number one, and I don't see Ramsdale getting changed anytime soon. That's just me. I think Ramsdale is going to probably be the keeper in the Premier League, and maybe in the Champions League we see Raya for the first game against PSV.
I agree. I think you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna have a Cup 11 and you're gonna have like a League and Champions League 11. David Ray is definitely gonna play in the Champions League, in my opinion. I think that's what we brought him in for. He's got a bit more experience. He's a little bit more kind of polished off, and Ramsdale's got someone to learn off as well. And I don't think people see it as a bad thing. But as long as Ryan Ramsdale are happy with their roles at the club, don't forget we've got Champions League, which is a mainstay that can get you into your national team as well. You've got the League Cup and the Carabao, the FA Cup and the League Cup as well. Now, because we want to try and win everything, we want to try and win competitions, you need two solid 11s that can be reliable for you at any given time without having to change your philosophy. Now, both David Raya and Ramsdale can play to feet, can go long, and they've both got similar profiles in keepers. So I don't really care like which one starts. If Arteta thinks, Reyes suits a certain game better than Ramsdale will, cool, I'm calm with it. But for me, I think there's an exaggeration on how bad Ramsdale is or how overrated he is. And I think people just need to calm down. It's that new toy syndrome. Oh, we've got David Raya, so he has to play him. It's the same as Trossard. Like, everyone wants to play Trossard because he's the new kid on the block. When Gabriel, like for example, Gabriel Jesus was returning from injury, people like he'll have to earn his place back. And look at what he did against United. Like, he doesn't need to earn anything back. The man is the done.
It's funny. You don't have what? City don't have 2 11s. We just won the treble. That's true. You don't have a replacement for every single player. But what you do have
when
is
I say
you have
2
good
11s,
quality
I don't mean
rotation.
Like, I'm talking like maybe 5-6 replacements. Like that can play a role. I'm not
Luckily,
saying
we have a Thomas Partey replacement because Thomas Partey is hopefully could be returning in playing in October, but progress monitoring closely. Arsenal will not rush his return back. As we currently have Declan Rice, there's no need to rush him back. So luckily, we have replacement for Thomas Partey now. But hey, I know at this point people think I have a Partey agenda. The amount of times I've mentioned him already this stream alone. But yeah, it's just. This is the situation.
He's always injured. What can I do?
Yeah, doesn't mean he's a bad player. It's just that's the situation we find ourselves in. I'm gonna say this though. Have you seen all the people talking about who's gonna play in that left attacking 8 role for us versus Everton? Because that is the team against Everton is pretty much self-explanatory. We all know who's gonna be in that team. We can all see who's gonna be in that team. But we're going to have to talk about that in a second. So let me know what you guys think. Who should play in that left 8 role? Should it be Kai Havertz? Should it be Tomiyasu? But before we go any further, there is one more link. Did you see we were linked to a Japanese player?
Yeah, Kubo's a don. I can't lie. I would love that.
Dawood's in the building. Dawood, what's good, bro?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I have to go through my phone, my PC. I don't know what's up with it. It's just messing up too much, man.
Today's not a good day for technology. International break, this is what happens. You don't use it for a while. You come back, it's like, woo.
yeah. I know. Trust me.
There we go. But hey, so we were just talking about Martin Odegaard got a new deal. What'd you think about that?
Oh, it's like since we've changed our board and since we changed our sporting director, it's like we get all our contracts done and dusted now. It's not one of those situations where we had previous situations where we had players, our main players, Aaron Ramsey. You can go back to Ron van Persie days, Fabregas, where these players are going down to 2 years, 1 year left. Mesut Ozil, Alexis Sanchez, where we're going to have to offer them 30% more than what they were originally getting offered a year before. So mine, Odegaard, if we left it too late and the way he's performing for us, our captain, and then if we get it done early, and it's the best thing is to get it done early because previously, if I look at other clubs like Tottenham Hotspur, and in their pump with Mauricio Pochettino, players like Eriksen, Kane, Vertonghen, Dele Alli, when they were performing at their best, the players were more willing to stay and more willing to stay with the project. So it's you get it done now. So by the end of the season, if we don't win any trophies and they're unhappy, they've got 4 or 5 year contracts. So we've got the power if we want to sell them, we want to keep them on. So I'm very happy with that that contract for Odegaard.
Bro, also I want to know what you think about this because I tweeted the other day Thomas Partey overrated, and a lot of Arsenal fans got pissed off at me. I want to know what your take is on the whole Thomas Partey. Would you consider him underrated, overrated, or properly rated?
Ability-wise, I think he's probably top 3 of our best players. But you can have all the ability in the world, but what the best saying is, availability is the best ability. So the guy is never available. He plays 15, 20 games, and then he's gone for 2-3 months. So if you can get 20 games out of him, that's okay. But we need a player like, especially a holding midfielder that can play 40, 50 games. The best defensive midfielder in the Premier League, Rodri, the guy plays 55 games minimum a season. And that's one of the best qualities you can have. And yeah, we can argue about Partey. I'm done with Partey. The guy's out for 2-3 months. People are saying he's back in 6 weeks. There's no chance Partey's coming back in 6 weeks, man. He's had previous situations where he's been out for people say a couple of weeks, but he ends up being out for 2 months. He's not coming back anytime soon. I think, especially when he comes back, then we've got the AFCON. So, and then we're not going to see him until, I'd say, February, March? So, yeah, I rate him. but he's never available, and we need to get rid of those kind of players that are never available. So for me, ability-wise, I rate him, but availability-wise, he's probably one of our worst players when it comes to availability.
Okay, sorry, my wife just got out of the room. Let's go to the next topic. Who's gonna start? Actually, well, what am I forgetting about that? Did you guys see we're linked to a Japanese player? The right wing. Do you guys know anything about him? I don't know too much about him.
Yeah, he used to. I think he used to play for Real Madrid, and then he went out on loan to Real Sociedad. He was spoken about as one of the best Asian players coming up when he was younger, and then I think he's kind of stagnated the way Odegaard did when he was at Real Madrid. I think if he has one good season the way Odegaard did at Real Sociedad, I think if we can get him, I think I'd be very happy with that signing.
What you saying, Souls?
Oh, I'd be extremely happy. He's exactly the kind of profile that I want to look at getting. People rate Matoma, and he's just a younger Matoma in a way. The only concerns I may have for him is his output in terms of goal scoring, not necessarily his playmaking. That's the only concern I'll have a little bit. But in terms of like bringing in someone for Bukayo Saka to rotate with, he's the perfect profile. He's young. He's someone who can be molded into a better player. We've seen Arteta work with wingers, and he can definitely get the best out of him. So I think, and also what we've got to also look at, La Liga's financial troubles is going to mean he's going to be a 20, 30 million pound player at most. And for us to bring in someone who's capable profile-wise and also in terms of a ceiling and to show a bit more progression, it's a perfect player to bring in, especially when you look at some of the wingers who are going for crazy money, right? Like look at Højlund, for example, going for what, 70 million?
Yeah.
You know, to bring in someone like, you know, Kubo for like 20, 30 million to be a backup to probably the front three in a way, because he has played centre forward as well. I'm not too sure whether he's played on the left, but I have predominantly seen him play on the right. And for me, if he came on for Bukayo Saka, I'd be very happy. If he started in front of, like, you know, in certain cup games or in certain games against, like, for example, if we're playing Everton and he was here, I wouldn't mind that too much. And I think he'd be a capable backup and actually potentially even push Saka on to take his spot. So I think that's the kinds of players we need. And we know Japanese people, we know like the Asian players that we've got, they're very respectful. If they play, but they will push, but they're not going to be, you know, what's the right word? Like, they're not going to be toxic about it. They're not going to sit there and, like, you know, go to the media and start saying, oh, I'm not starting enough games. They're going to go to the manager. They're going to do it in a respectful manner. So I feel like as a backup, they're the kind of characteristics you have to look for as well. So, yeah, that's for me. And he's an international player as well. So it's going to bring more eyes to the club. So commercially, it's going to be a good deal. But it's also going to be a good deal for us on the pitch as well.
There's something about the upcoming Japanese players. They look so technical. I saw them against Germany. I watched them against Germany. They beat Germany. Was it 4-1? Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And the way they perform and the way they press, like they're going to be a dark horse when it comes to future competitions. And yeah, for me, technically, he's really good. He's got that work ethic that I really love about him. And yeah, I think if I back up to Bukayo Saka, I think he's 1 year older than us. I think Saka's 22 as well, so they're both same age. So yeah, I'd love to sign him. I think he's one of the most upcoming and promising right wingers.
I'm gonna have to look into him because I don't know enough about him to honestly give a fair opinion on him at this moment in time. So I'm gonna look into him. But how do you pronounce his name? Is it
Kubo.
What?
TAKEFUSA KUBO.
TAKEFUSA KUBO.
Or TAKEFUSA. It might be TAKEFUSA actually.
22 years old, very young. So we're gonna have to see.
And do you know a fun fact, Igal? He's next door neighbours with Kieran Tierney.
Is it?
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah. Because international break, Tomiyasu was speaking to him, and he said, "Yo, how's Kieran doing in Real Sociedad?" And he said, "He's my neighbour," and he's like really settling in. So yeah.
Nice to see Kieran Tierney doing well over in Real.
Hey, we might have known Kieran Tierney had to put in a good word with him.
Kieran Tierney might tell him don't go. Let's talk about this left 8. Who are we gonna play? Because I think the rest of the team is pretty straightforward. You play Ramsdale, Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko. You're gonna have Saka, Jesus, and Martinelli, or you could put Eddie and Nketiah, depending on which one you think is better suited for this game. And then, of course, Rice, Odegaard, and who's that left 8? Could it be Jorginho? Could it be Fabio Vieira? Or could it be Kai Havertz? It's time to have the discussion, guys. Who are we going to play in that left 8 position? Somebody earlier in the comment section said we should play Kai Havertz. Due to the game, it's going to need a little bit more physicality. We're going to be playing against a team like Everton, who's very physical. But there's also the case that you should maybe put more technical ability in there, because do you play physicality versus physicality, or do you try to outsmart the physicality? Because guess what? Brains always beats bronze, right?
Yeah, I know, but the way Everton play, like, that's a crazy fact that I saw today, was that the last time we beat them was when Arsene Wenger was in charge at Goodison Park. Is one of the most worst places to play. I've been Goodison Park previously. I've been there twice. Yeah, I've been there twice. We've lost twice, and it's one of those situations where they're not going to play football. They're just going to play long balls. They've got Decore. They've got Calvert-Lewin. They're just going to be playing long ball, trying to get into the box. And then for us playing technical players, that's not going to work. And the way Arteta said that, now we'll sign more physical players where we can match teams like Everton, where I wish we had Tom's Partey this game, because we had Partey, Rice, and Odegaard. We would have matched them physically. People are saying play Havertz there. Havertz, can play physically there, but the tempo of the game is going to be really quick for him. And the guy, Havertz, he takes his time with the ball. And it's going to be a tough game for us. Why do we always play Everton when it's on TV? We never play them on like a 3 p.m. game. Like, it's always like a Monday night or Super Sunday. It's never like a normal 3 p.m. low-key game where no one knows about it. They always make the Everton-Arsenal game live on TV. I don't understand it, man.
Personally, for me, it's a situation where I just look at Everton and our record against Everton, and I say, you know what? Is this something of a curse? Is this something where we need to go into this game a little bit worried? Or do I look at Everton this season and say they're bottom of the league? They've only gotten 2 draws. Surely we can't go there and drop points against this poor Everton side. But every year we drop points against the Everton side. It's very shaky. But going into this midfield, I wanted Fabio Vieira to start after the last game. But is this the right game to start Fabio Vieira? I'm starting Kai Havertz. Now, Jorginho, I hear the case for it, but no. I'm going to go with Kai Havertz to start this game. If he doesn't have a good game, we can take him off, and then we can put in Fabio Vieira. But I feel like we're going to need that taller person on set pieces, the physicality that he can bring. And let's not forget, he is an out ball. If you want to pass the ball out long, you can just throw it over to to Kai Havertz. He brings it down and he passes it on to somebody else. Yeah. Now, he's eventually going to have to turn his form around. He did get an assist for Germany during the international break, so maybe he has a little confidence going into this Everton game, and he can bring out some of the best out of him. Now, people are still upset and underwhelmed by how Kai Havertz has started his time at Arsenal, but let's not forget, players don't necessarily. It's not about how they start; it's about how they finish and how well they do for the rest of the time period. If Kai Havertz can bag a goal in this game, everyone's going to forget about the first 4 games, and they're going to be like, you know what, Kai Havertz has arrived. And this is his time. Now, is that going to happen? We're going to have to wait and see. But for me, that's who I'm going with. I'm going with Kai Havertz. I don't think you start Fabio Vieira away from home against Everton in this game. Maybe wait until we play in the Champions League. You can start him then. I don't know. What are you saying? We play in the Champions League midweek versus PSV, so he can start in that game.
Are we playing against PSV on a Tuesday or Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Is that home?
Yes.
Yeah.
First Champions League game back.
Did Gabriel Jesus play against Everton last season? No, he didn't.
No, Eddie started.
Eddie started, yeah. So I think now playing Jesus physically can match the 2 centre-back, because he's got, I think, like he's the best hold-up striker in the Premier League. The way he holds up the ball, no one can get the ball off him. So if Everton try to play long balls, and then if we match them, Jesus, the way he can bring in the rest of the team. And for me, like, I know you're going to put Martinelli in there. Huh?
What about ESR? Because Ray, the Gooner, has said ESR twice now. I don't want to ignore him, but the honest truth is I don't think ESR is going to get game time like that.
Yeah, because I think ESR, Trossard, Fabio Vieira, I think those are the three players where they're going to be eager to start sooner or later because they can't sit on the bench anytime longer. I think Trossard, he spoke with Arteta saying him, where's my playing time? And I think Arteta said to him, until the Champions League starts, or when the Champions League starts and you got the Community Shield, the Carabao Cup, sorry, that's 3 competitions. So I think Smith Rowe, I think we'll have to wait until the Carabao Cup is back, where I think we'll start that game, and then if he starts performing well, then that left centre mid is up for grabs, because Havertz right now, there's no competition for him right now because Arteta's like giving him chances where if he doesn't improve in the next 2 games, he's got Everton, he's got PSV, and if he still underperforms, I think that's when we just cut ties with them and then we just start playing our youngsters with Vieira and Emile Smith Rowe. I know Gunnar disagrees.
I'm just going to say this. Solutions. I am not apologizing for nothing because I never said anything wrong. I did not insult him. I merely just said he's overvalued by a portion of our fan base and even rivals. So hey, it's not dissing him. I still think he's a good player. I still think he's a good part of the team. It's just I don't think he's rated where he should be. I think he's rated a little bit higher than where he should be. But hey, that's a conversation for another day. I feel like we're gonna have this conversation every day now. I'm gonna have to do a Thomas Partey defense moment every video. But what are you saying, Souls? Who's your starter?
I mean, there's only one answer, isn't it? Kai Havertz. This is my guy. My guy, you know. He'll come good. The thing is, I've always said it, like, I want to see him with Jesus and Zinchenko before I pass judgment. And I want to see him like 2, maybe 3 games with them in the lineup as well. And that's when I can make a good judgment on whether he's actually going to fit in this team or not. Because you got to think about it. When Xhaka had his best games was when Zinchenko was in the team and Jesus was in the team. And a lot of the 11 play when those 2 feature. When those 2 aren't in the team, someone drops off or 2 people drop off. So I do want to kind of reserve judgment at the moment. And obviously he got an assist on the international break. Other than that, he was fairly quiet and actually very poor, if we're being honest. But when you look at his number, the issue is he's doing everything we didn't want him to do. So aerial duels, you know, he's top of that. You know, duels won, he's on top of that. So all of the defensive side of the midfield game he's actually doing, which is what I said to a lot of people he will do. He's not a lazy person off the ball. A lot of people thought he was going to be, you know, lazy. He's not going to contribute that, but he has been defensively quite good. But the issue has been in front of goal. Like the United chance, he didn't even kick the ball. When you look at the Man City game, he had 2 clear-cut chances. One of them, fair enough, he made for himself, but he still had those 2 chances that he should have put away. And he has had moments to score. So it's just about, I think what his issue is he needs that first goal. I feel like that first goal is playing in his head. And once he gets it, I feel like that's when the floodgates are going to open for him because he's finding himself in the right positions. He's doing all the right things. It's just not hitting for him. And I feel like this could be a game, especially with Jesus dropping into midfield, that he can go a bit more advanced and he can have the freedom to not feel like he has to do the defensive side of his game. So I want to see him play in this game. So that's just my personal opinion. I think he gets it to go.
Don't you think like he doesn't know how to shoot? That's the problem. His shots are very like timid. Like the 2 shots against Man City, that shot against Man United, it's like he doesn't know how to like shoot clean. Like when he compared that to Odegaard, how many times have you seen Odegaard when a fullback or the winger cuts back to him and he shoots so clean where it hits both corners? Havertz, I don't think he can technically do that. And you're saying about form where he needs a goal. You said that for the floodgates to come, but I hate plays like that. I hate plays where when they go out of form, they look absolutely trash, and then it's going to happen to him again in the future where he'll go out of form again, and then he'll score for 2, 3, 4 games, and then people will say, let him get that goal back, let him get his confidence back. I hate confidence players because look at Bukayo Saka, look at Martinelli. When they're performing bad, you don't see the confidence dropping. But with Kai Havertz, if he performs bad, his confidence goes to 0, and then he needs 2 or 3 games to start building up again. And I hate plays like that.
Now, I disagree, though, because you got to look at it. He's been in an environment at Chelsea where there is no support. Whereas in Arsenal, we know Arteta's a good man manager in terms of bringing players out of form. Look at what you did with Granit Xhaka. He was basically out the club. No one wanted him at the club. He was being abused left, right, and center.
The honest truth about Kai Havertz, he has not been producing like end product, but he's been getting in the right places. It's just not been coming. So
but also,
I don't think it's a confidence thing.
We can't say Chelsea
it's an execution thing. Like if Martinelli would have scored his goal versus Crystal Palace, boom, that would have been an assist. If he would have struck the ball cleanly versus Manchester United, it would have been a goal. So I don't even think it's a confidence thing at this point. I just think it's a poor execution. You can't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't think he knows how to shoot clean.
No, but do you know what it is though? Like I feel for me, like the 3 years he had at Chelsea, I don't rate any of their coach. Like as a coach, I don't rate any of the managers they've had. So for me, like a lot of the players digressed as well. Like look at Mason Mount as well, not been as good. Reece James has been on a decline as well. Granted, that's mainly because of injuries, but their entire club has been on a decline over the last sort of 3-4 years. Granted, he's played a part in that. So for me, when I look at what Mikel Arteta's capable of in terms of coaching plays and ability. Look at Fabio Vieira this season. I said be patient with him, but a lot of people were telling me to sell him. Like, no, we need to sell him as a club. And now look at what he's producing. Look at what ESR's producing, Martinelli's producing. Look at Bukayo Saka's game over the last sort of 3 years that he's been here. So for me, I just think time with him, he's going to be one of those players that's going to need the season. Just like Grealish needed a season, just like Rodri needed a season, just like a lot of the Man City players need a season. This is that player that we've got to be patient with because I do think he'll come good.
I think he can come good. I wouldn't say 100% it's going to happen, but we just got to wait and see. I am starting to get a little concerned. I'm not going to throw my toys at the Prem and say he's garbage. We need to get rid of him. Why did we ever bring him in? Because I'm not there yet, but a lot of people are there, and I'm just going to have a little bit more patience in that. I think I'm going to give him at least 6 months to the whole year before I write him off. That's just me.
Before you change to something else, Igal, I was going to say about you mentioned Gunnar Solskjaer mentioned Grealish, but Grealish was performing week in week out for Aston Villa, and they knew the reason why Man City fans were patient with him because they knew he had a history of performing well for Aston Villa. Kai Havertz got no history of performing well in the Premier League. Fact, like since coming to the Premier League, he hasn't performed well. So 3 years in the Premier League hasn't performed well, and then you're on top of that, he's coming to Arsenal with no confidence. I watch him. He what does he offer? We're at a level now where we have to be challenging for the Premier League, challenging for the Champions League. If we had signed someone like Kai Havertz 4 years ago at the start of the project, I understand. But we're at a stage where we're. Say again.
Who you starting this weekend? If not Kai Havertz,
Fabio Vieira. I mean, Fabio Vieira has to start that game, or to be more to dominate possession more. I'd play Rice on the left, and I'd play Jorginho. Where Jorginho, you can press him as much as you want. They got him not losing the ball. But Arsenal fans were worried. Jorginho was standing against Newcastle last season, and the way he performed as a holding midfield at St James's Park. If he's doing that at St James's Park, you don't think he can do that at Goodison Park. So for me, I'm playing Jorginho, I'm playing Rice, and I'm playing ODEGARD.
You know what? I agree with you there. I would rather if Kai Havertz doesn't play, I don't play Fabio Vieira. I play Jorginho. I just think Fabio Vieira a little bit.
Now, you know, the only two options I'm giving is ESR or Kai Havertz for me. They're the only two I want to see start.
I don't think ESR is going to go from 0 minutes to starting.
No, I hear that, but they're the only two for me because reason why I say is
Jorginho at least
I feel like
but
the thing is Jorginho needs to come to shut off the game because I feel like starting him is pragmatic. We need to start quick against Everton. We need to get the first goal. There's no dragging this game into the 60th minute to get our first goal. Because the longer I'm being honest, the longer we keep it 0-0, they win.
Clearly, they see something in Havertz that the fans can't see. I don't believe in Havertz, but I trust in Arteta. Therefore, I back him. You know what? This is pretty much where I am. I'm backing Arteta on this one because he really sees something that we don't see. Finally, guys, are you guys worried? Because Everton draw. Usually we draw. Hopefully we can get a win, but I see us conceding. We usually keep clean sheets away from home and we do good away from home, but Everton is always a bad game for us. So I can see us conceding. I see this being a crazy game, just high scoring affair, like 5-goal thriller where we win 3-2, similar to Aston Villa last year. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be a chaotic game, absolute carnage. People are going to be saying, Arsenal down 2-0. We come back, we score 3 goals, win the game. Mental. That's the kind of, I just have a feeling it's going to be a mental game. But yeah, what are you saying?
I hate this kind of games. I absolutely hate this kind of games. We haven't had a comfortable game the whole season. And I just want a game where I can just sit down, relax, watch our team win 2-0, 3-0, where we score 2 goals in the first half. The second half, Everton come at us, and then they don't really do anything. And then we score the third goal, end the game. By the 70th minute, we're making a couple of substitutions, fresh legs. I want one of those games, but I know we're not going to have those games because Arteta is going to do something crazy. He's going to play a 3 at the back, or he's going to play Ben White as a holding midfielder. He's going to do something because the guy, he never plays the formation that we want because he just wants to experiment as much as he wants. So I'd say I never want us to lose. I'll never predict us losing, but I'm going to say 1-1. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, Souls, what are you saying?
This is difficult. I do think we're going to win this. Now, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks this could be like a 5-2. There's also a part of me that thinks this is going to be a 2-1. But I don't think there's going to be anything in the middle. I don't think there's going to be... It's either going to be a very boring or a very exciting game. It's not going to be like a mild game. And for me, if I'm being honest with you, I look at Beto, I look at Danjuma, Decore, Onana, they do concern me. Those are players that can bully us, and especially Beto. Like Beto, for me, looks like a player. He's a beast. Like, I know a lot of people haven't really seen him at Udinese, haven't really seen him even at Everton, even Danjuma at Villarreal and stuff. But these are players for me that can cause damage. Like Danjuma is a very clinical striker. Well, he plays on the wing for them, but he's a very clinical forward that can get a goal out of nothing. Onana, we've seen what he'd done last season at Goodison Park when Dash first came in. Decore is just a physical beast. But I think Declan Rice is the game changer for us. Because of his physicality and his ability to play the game, I'm not that worried. So, but I am going to go for a 2-1. I don't think this is going to be a beatdown. I don't think it's going to be a masterclass or anything of that kind of nature. This is going to be a game that's going to be won or lost in midfield. And I hope it is us, and we can dominate. We can play possession football even without Jorginho. So that's what I'm hoping for. So, 2-1 for me. I think 2-1 or 1-0. That's the kind of scoreline I'm saying. By
the way, Gunnar Veld, that comment was so good, I had to tweet it out. Comment of the day. That was a great comment. I felt like that was very well worded also. If you guys missed what he said, I just want to point it out again. Clearly, they see something in Kai Havertz that we fans can't see. I don't believe in Havertz, but I trust Arteta, therefore I back him. Big up for that. People saying 3-1 Arsenal. I've gone for 3-2. You went with a 1-1 draw. Souls, you went with...
I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1. So we're all saying it's going to be a close game. No one's sitting here saying we're going to beat them 5-0. But guess what? If we do beat them 5-0, we're not going to get no credit. We're just going to be like, you're supposed to do this. So really and truly, either way, I love football, but the agendas are reckless. And wallahi, we do this to Man United and other clubs, but the reality is we lose the game. We're terrible. We're not going to get title races done. Everyone's going to overreact. It's going to be mental. We win this game. In a close game, it's going to be the performances are still poor. We need to improve our performances. And if we smash them, it's don't gas up Everton away. It's a shit team. So it's like
I got a feeling before you end it, Igal. I got a feeling he might play Trossard instead of Martinelli because Goodison Park is a very tight stadium where they're not going to give you a lot of space to run in behind. And if you don't give Martinelli space to run in behind, like you see the way he performed last season at the Goodison Park, he played terrible. So those kind of games where you need technical players, and I think because of the way he performed for Belgium, the international break, I would love to start Trossard, Jesus, and Saka front three with Rice, Jorginho, and Odegaard. I think that would boost our chance of winning by 30%. And then if Arteta plays Martinelli, Havertz, I'm not as confident.
By the way, do you guys know when the last time we beat Everton?
And 2016, 27. Was it 2016? I think it was.
Do you know what the
score was? It was 5-2.
bro.
Yeah.
Can you name any players from that team?
Yeah, Ozil was playing. I remember
That
because he
front,
scored.
that front three was Alexis Sanchez, Lacazette, and Ozil.
Yeah.
What was the
Yeah.
midfield team?
Was it Coquelin at that time?
No, it was a
Granit Xhaka.
back three. It was a back three. And it was and let me show you. So you guys got the front three perfect. This was the back three was Saka, Monreal, and Koscielny. Czech had a terrible game that game. Bellerin, Kolasinac, midfield of Xhaka and Ramsey. Wow.
Do you know how sick that is? We played 2-8 as our pivots in Ramsey and Xhaka. Like if Ramsey and Xhaka were playing for Arsenal now, you'll never see them two playing as a holding midfielder. Where everyone knew that Xhaka was never a holding midfielder and Ramsey was never a holding midfielder. These guys used to love pushing up the pitch. So we really played 2-8 in central midfield, which is absolutely crazy.
Really never had we never really had balanced midfield ever.
Never. Because we were crying out. I remember for years, we was crying out for Kondogbia. We was crying out for that Sporting Lisbon holding midfielder. I forgot his name. He's left. Was it Carvalho?
Bro, we let a retiring Rooney score against us, for God's sake.
Yeah, and that front three, I think we only played it a couple of times because Alex Sanchez ended up leaving in January. So we never really saw that front three in the European. That's I think if we had Alex Sanchez that season, I think we would have won the Europa League.
Bro, I think if we would have sold Alexis Sanchez in the summer, we would have been better off. Because we ended up letting him go to Manchester United for nothing, and I think the club probably regret that.
No, but if you look at if we let go of him, we would have bought Thomas Lemar for £92 million.
No, I'm happy we didn't get Thomas Lemar, but at the same time, we should have still sold him even if we didn't get a replacement.
Yeah, I think the only player in that team that I would take is Sanchez and Koscielny.
The only player I would take from this team is Sanchez.
Alexander on the left for this Arteta team now. Wow.
You know what? This team, if this team had Ramsey, he would be the perfect in that Kai Havertz role.
Oh, yeah. Ramsey played for Arsenal in the wrong generation. That number 8, he would have been cooking.
If we had Ramsey in this team, he would kill it.
Oh my days. I know, man. Wrong players, wrong generation, man. I feel sorry for Ramsey, man. He played in an absolute diabolical generation of footballers. Of Arsenal footballers.
But you know what? He still won a bunch of trophies and got finals goals for us.
I know.
Finally, did you guys see that picture of all the number 8s, Arsenal number 8s? You got Ozil.
Ramsey,
Arteta, and Samir Nasri. Now, people are gonna hate me for this, but Odegaard is not the top guy on this list.
No,
he has a ceiling to be the best out of all of them because he's still currently playing and he could potentially reach that if he wins a league title or something. But call me crazy, but Ramsey is ahead of Odegaard, and Samir Nasri is ahead of Odegaard.
That's just I'd say that. Yeah. Arteta's not in the conversation. So I think Arteta he's on the conversation. Yeah.
Odegaard has not yet surpassed what those two guys have done in their time period at Arsenal. Even though Samir Nasri left for Man City, the guy was an absolute baller for how many seasons?
Yeah. I think that period of time when we had Fabregas, Nasri, Van Persie, Alex Song, we had Jack Wilshere. We had so many technical players, and then 2-3 years after that, we just started selling all of them one by one. And then we ended up going to a period in 2-3 years when we had no technical players. And then we literally just had a team where they had no technical ability and they had no work ethic. And then we just had 4 years where the football was atrocious. And now slowly we're going back to that. I think now they've got technical ability, plus they've got that work ethic and that physical strength where we didn't have that previously, where we can match teams like Everton now. With players we've got 4 or 5 players that are over 6 foot when we never had that with Arsene Wenger. So Arteta knows what he's doing. If you look at it now, he's signing players that are minimum 6 foot, where you need that nowadays because if we go to Old Trafford, we're not going to get bullied anymore. If we go to Goodison Park, we're not going to get bullied anymore. If we go to St James's Park, we're not going to get bullied. And we're slowly coming out of that era where we call soft Arsenal. And I don't think we're that team anymore. I'm happy about that.
You know what, guys? I think that's it. We're going to wrap it up here. It's been a great video. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the video. Do me a favor, leave a comment down below what your score prediction is for Arsenal Everton. For me, I'm going with, once again, my score prediction is a 3-2 Arsenal victory. High scoring here.
Before you end it, guys, just one more thing. Did you see the way Tomiyasu played in Japan at centre back?
No.
Like, if we need to play him at centre back, because this guy is left foot, right foot. I think we just experiment one day, Saliba and Tomiyasu at the back together. I think that would be really good, because the way he was pinging it with his left foot against Germany, like, you will go on YouTube after this stream again and watch Tomiyasu against Germany. The way he was pinging the ball about with his both feet, I thought, wow, this guy is so technically amazing.
Wow. You know what, guys? Love for the love people. We'll be back. We play Sunday, right?
Yeah, Sunday, yeah.
Okay, so we'll be back for a match reaction Sunday and Vibes from the 6th Sunday. So we got 2 streams on Sunday, no stream tomorrow, and then we'll catch you on Monday for the panel show. So I'll catch you guys soon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. And of course, do me a favor, if you reached up until this point of the video and you haven't liked the video, please do like the video, as YouTube algorithms are against me today and they're not sending you guys the link. So make sure you do hit that like button to help the channel out. I'm out of here, people. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day.